Grand morning, grand junction, grand rising, and to all of those in between. Good morning. My name is Anubi Sarde, and if you don't know who that is, ask your friends. It's a newbie nigga. Today's conversation is going to be directed towards a date with fate. A date with fate. A date. There's only two things that really frighten a person about death, and it is the knowingness and then the unfamiliarity of death. I'm afraid of heights, right? If you take me to a park, like an amusement park, or you take me to a fair or something like that has like all these real big rides, I'm gonna go on every single thing that's gonna throw you into the air. If I get on that ride and it swing me through the air like a towel hanging off the fingertips of a football player in a locker room, I be on that shit. My heart be jumping. I be, thrilled, because I feel like the only way to actually face your fear is to eat it. When I see something, I used to be told, like, when I was younger, I used to be told, don't eat your food with all the lights off in the house, because then you're having a dinner with the devil. And I used to feel like if it was that easy to summon a motherfucker, why we got all of this? Why y'all scared? And so I grew a habit of eating my food. I grew a habit of eating my food with the lights off. Because I was like, ain't no motherfucker, I'm not gonna be afraid of no motherfucking body. It's help for me. I used to have a lot of crazy, weird, wild ass dreams and stuff that used to shake the shit out of me in my waking moments and while I was asleep. Like, she used to be coming out the wall scary. So I figured if I sit there and I eat in the dark with the devil being up in there, then I don't got shit to be afraid of. We're mostly scared of things that we don't understand. And it's a lot that I be wanting to understand. And so it's not a lot that I'm afraid of, because I'm willing to be uncomfortable while getting to understand this unknowingness. Now, I heard a line one day that says the only part of you that burns in hell is the parts of you that won't let go. So that'll be like children, past decisions, unfinished business that you think that you have to continue to do, which it doesn't really make any sense to me why we feel like we have to stay here and take care of unfinished business, when if you've already passed away, it was time for your soul to go. It was time for you to transcend. It was time for you to, whether you believe it in your bodily self, your subconscious and your soul has already made that decision. Like, babies getting aborted, if a baby leaves or it passes away, then that baby already said, okay, it's not time for me to come out. 9 out of 10, this was an unplanned pregnancy that happened, because I don't really know. I'm not going to go into that part. I'm going to just say what I said. If he was ready to go, he gonna go. It's the same thing about suicide. If a person is done with being here and they've already made up their mind that I'm not doing this anymore, they're gonna go. And nobody can stop them. They can try to stop themselves, but if their soul, if their energy, if their spirit has already said, I am done, I am tired, then they're gonna leave. Death is inevitable. Now, back to what I was saying. I am very comfortable and uncomfortable with throwing myself into situations or places that I know is going to be very painful to my physical, spiritual, or mental self, because in order for it to cause me some type of an uncomfortability, there's a part of me that still needs clarity on why I'm afraid of these things. The unknowingness is usually what stimulates that fear. The fear of not knowing what's going to happen to me after I go into these places. But I have so much faith that when I do throw myself into these places, I'm going to be divinely protected. And then I'm leaving here with something. That is like something that I like to call the descent into hell or chaos for the retrieval of heaven or clarity. When I was younger, I used to spend a lot of time in the mental asylums because my outside world thought that I was crazy. And a lot of my gifts were coming in like very, 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 very rapidly. Every time I had like a traumatic experience, like boom, like I'd gain a new skin, like I'm in Fortnite. Like I'd always come back with something. And every time I go there, I start to realize like, okay, every time I'm here, there's probably like 5, 6, maybe 7 different people that are admitted into this hospital. And by the time I've turned around in week 2, week 3, everybody has been released except for me. I'm the last one there. And it confuses the nurses because they're trying to figure out, why are you here? Like, why did you, like, who brought you here? You know? It makes me feel good. Like, it makes me feel like I'm completing an assignment. I'm completing a mission in order for me to get my new skin. So I used to frequently admit myself in there. But I know that I'm going to come out with clarity of, okay, this is something that I was diagnosed with. Now let me figure out the spiritual reason as to why I've been diagnosed with this type of thing. Let me if they're like, oh, like you have depression or like bipolar depression or something like that, then I can understand that, okay, this is a root chakra problem and this is also a crown chakra problem, which means that my levels on these things have diminished a bit and I could work on those things. And then I go into solitary, I go into isolation, and then I work on those things. And then after I come back, like,
game time, bitches.
There's always something outside of death. People always say things like, oh, you only got one life, and once you die, like, it's over, it's dead. If humanity can be recycled, why can't the soul be recycled? Why can't the spirit be recycled? I don't talk to people who don't believe in reincarnation. I don't talk to people who don't believe in regeneration. If you feel like, oh, this person just cannot be saved, we're going to have a very hard time having a conversation. Because I stand very, very upright and at attention on my thoughts and my viewpoints on those types of things. Because I don't think that people get left behind. You know, when there was... when we go into details about like Noah's Ark and how all of the animals and the people were on the ship and on the boat and stuff like that, and they were talking about how the people who didn't get on the boat or whatever, they were washed away, and like, you know, they dealt with the flooding and all that other different stuff like that. My thing is, if you took your people and put them on the boat and you helped them to safely move along to the promised land and watch the rest of the world change and renew itself and everything like that, and you were blessed with this milk and honey, these other people had to have descended into some type of hell that either brought them closer to God or it completely killed them off. There's only 2 ways that can go. And this person that was killed off is going to come back because of the fact that they endured that type of pain and suffering. I feel like we all get second chances. We all get third chances. We all get fourth chances. Because an all-knowing source would not just leave anyone to die. It would encapsulate them into some type of tombstone or sarcophagus where they have the ability to isolate themselves from the outside trepidations and then come into themselves for what is missing, for what is not there, for what needs to come. Like when my brother passed away, I made him a selenite crown. And I made it because of the fact that he died a very painful death, but he also lived a very painful life. He knew what time it was, but he knew he didn't have time to become what he was supposed to be becoming. And so I gave him the selenite so he can have a clean aura whenever he comes back, so he can understand like the parts of himself that were locked away. Like I wanted to be able to like nurture and nourish his third eye. So while he's in his tombstone or his sarcophagus, I felt like that would help him. Because when the mummies pass away, when the people that become mummies pass away, they put all types of trinkets in there, things that will help them in the afterlife. Some of them, when they die with their pets, they go and they put the pets inside of the tombstone. If you died with your lover, then you get buried with your, you know, they put different things up in there. So I wanted him to have a selenite crown. His Kang, you know what I'm saying? Started to understand the role that I play a lot of the times when it comes to forming relationships with people. And it doesn't have to be like a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Like, when I form a relationship with a person, I'm very knowing of what role that I could be playing. And a lot of the times, it is anybody that comes into contact with me, there's a part of you that has to pass away. Whether it be you in general, or some shit that just doesn't align with your transformation. Because I'm a mirror for other people. I will take you and throw you right back at you, because I don't allow for that type of sediment and degradation to seep into myself. If your intention is to cause me harm, I don't allow for it to, because you're not going to get away with it. You're not going to get away. You can't kill a bitch that was born dead. And if you didn't know, you better ask somebody. So, as I was saying, whenever people try to cause me harm, it inevitably fucks up a part of themselves that they worked really, really hard on. Because in order for you to do evil, and you're wanting something really, 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 really good, you are inevitably destroying that something that you really, 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 really wanted, because you did something that you really, 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 really did not have to do. Something that you really did not have to do. Like a person that is unwilling to work on their anger is more than likely to be killed by an angry person. You get how I took you and threw you back at you? There's always life when it comes to death. After when you become a new person, there's always a part of you that has to pass away, that has to die. And I think the fear of that unknowingness is because you've held on to so much of what is not you, so much of what trauma has shaped you into be, or something that pain, disappointment, abandonment has shaped you into being. And that's not even you. That's not even your thing. I used to want to be a rapper. I love to sing. I love the vibration in my body whenever I'm singing. I love everything about singing, how it comes out, how beautiful it feels. I love vibrating the air with my sound. Like, I love that shit. And I felt like a lot of people do not deserve this. This is pretty much the only thing that I hold near and dear to my heart. I'm ashamed of it sometimes when I built the wrong notes. And so much that is a safe haven in singing, and so nobody else is gonna get that. Y'all are gonna hear me talk because y'all always cut me off whenever I'm fucking talking. Y'all are gonna hear me rap real fast because I got ADHD and I'm not slowing down for nobody. You know what I'm saying? So when I wanted to be an artist, those were the things that I was gonna be doing. I was like, I'm gonna be a rapper. Like, I'm be rapping. But as I got more into music, as I got more into understanding frequency and vibration and everything like that, it became less about being a rapper and more of a storyteller. Because when you're telling a story, people are more than likely to listen to it. And rap is more of an acquired taste. Like, everybody not going to listen to that. And people responded a lot better to me singing. You know, the views started going up a little bit more. I was invited to a few more places. People could see me in like cartoon characters and all these other different animations and stuff like that. Like, they could see me when they look and watch a movie and they're like, oh, you remind me of this person. You remind me of that person. And there's a gentle embrace when it comes to those things. Now, when I was angry, people were still calling me Erykah Badu. Now that I think about it. People were still calling me that. And that used to piss me off a lot because I was like, I am my own person. Like, why do y'all keep, you know, like, I love her. I love her. I'm Anubi, nigga. a new being, a new bitch, a new beginning, a new generation. And y'all trying to stick me onto somebody who already claimed themselves. That is a whole person. That's not a noun that y'all made up like fine shit. That is a whole person that has already claimed herself, worked on herself, worked on people around her, and she already got her own thing going on, and y'all still calling me this lady. That used to piss me off. I'm telling y'all. Because it was like, I can't even create outside of what y'all want me to, because y'all not gonna eat it. I had to kill off the part of me that was bothered by people recognizing me. You know, I had to cut off how I felt about that and started embracing it, because people are more comfortable with talking to the spiritual girls. They don't feel like we're gonna say anything to trigger them or make them feel bad, you know, like. But I'm not all love and light, you know. I had to kill off the part of me that felt like I had to be nice to everyone because of that. I had to cut off the part where people disregarded the separation and they couldn't separate it. I had to do these things in order for me to be comfortable with my transformation. And it made the transformation a lot more easier, because now I'm not holding on to how you feel about anything. It's mostly about how I'm adjusting with myself and what I'm going to do with what I'm going to do. And that's me welcoming my own death. It's me forcing the ego out, forcing my self-proclaimed logic and understanding for expandability. Even a bubble is willing to burst in order to expand its understanding. I'm more comfortable with dying because of the fact that I know that once I regenerate or once I come back, there's going to be a new version of me that's not going to die how that one died. I used to have a lot of dreams about walking into these abandoned towns and abandoned buildings, and there was always this person that's on like a newspaper, you know, and there's always these people that are holding newspapers, and they're looking at me, and then they're looking back at the newspaper, then they start talking to amongst themselves. And that used to bother the fuck out of me, because I had this dream like 5 or 6 times, and I couldn't understand why the fuck is y'all looking at me and ain't nobody talking to me. Like, do not piss me off. If you see me and I see you, bitch, I know I'm not no big ass tree that's in the way. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that used to bother the hell out of me. And then one day, I like snatched the newspaper out of one of these girls, and I'm like, yeah, who the fuck is on here? Like, why y'all playing with me? I looked at the newspaper, it's me. Bitch, I committed suicide. And I was appalled. I was befuddled. I was so bewildered. I think my subconscious woke me up out of that dream. Because dream me was like, oh bitch, hell no. Fuck no. When I was younger, I was like intensely obsessed with suicide. Like, it was bad. Like, bad. I used to come home every day and try something new. And that's not funny. All due respect to people who are battling things and, you know, they're thinking about going through with it. Don't go through with it. You could get so much finer from here. You know, you could be so much better than what you feel like you were not going to get through. But if you feel like there's a part of you that needs to die, I highly recommend it. You'll feel better later. When I was 17, I had a dream that I was inside of this house, and there was a woman. Well, there was this girl that was screaming. I mean, shrill, loud, fucking screaming. Like, it was blood curdling. And in the dream, I had woken up in the bed, and there was bars on the window, and it was an all white house. Like, the sheets were white, the bed was white, the walls were white, like everything was white. And so when I got up out of the room to go and see like what the screaming was about, I was met with all of these ladies in white robes, and they had like white headdresses or whatever, and they were all standing in a circle, and they were standing in front of a fence. Like, they were standing like in the middle kind of like the yard, but there was a fence circling the yard. And when I looked outside, bitch, like over the fence, goddamn, everything was on fire. Like, it was complete destruction. Cars were burning, trees were like breaking down and everything like that. Like, it was really crazy. And so I went back to the circle because the girl is still screaming, and she saw me and she got to screaming louder. I mean, like, I scared shit out of her, you know what I'm saying? And so I moved everybody out of the way so I could like get in there. I moved everybody out of the way so that I can get in there, and I put my hand on her forehead, and I'm talking about her eyes went in there, like her eyes rolled to the back of her fucking head. And then I woke up. She had stopped screaming, and then I woke up. I went from being like probably the most saddest, most depressing, most angry, most just done with fucking life. I was so at peace when I woke up from that dream. I was so at peace. I wrote a suicide letter before I died and everything. Like, I was like, I know I'm not gonna come back. You know, like, I know I'm not gonna be in the morning to have to deal with life anymore. But I didn't know that I was gonna pass away like that in my dream and come back. Like, that's literally what it felt like. Like, I had gone through my own initiation into rebirth. And still to this day, like, you can't convince me that suicide makes sense for my journey, makes sense for my life. Like, I will kill myself egotistically and psychologically so that I can make space for things that are going to be better for me, like better for my transformation and better for the person that I'm supposed to become. A lot of the times we don't recognize our higher self because we're still so young in the mind, so young in the heart, so young in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? So when you get to where you're supposed to be, you don't believe it because it looks like everything that you've always wanted, but you didn't know it was gonna look like everything you wanted. In another video, I stated that I used to pray to God to let me see my spirit guides, to see my ancestors, to see my old family members that are helping me on my journey. And it was always people that looked different, but they felt like me, you know? Like, you have certain characteristics and qualities in your family members and everything like that, and you can see yourself in these people. But when you find like a soulmate or something like that, your present face is the face you loved most in your past life. I don't know how I got that caught up, but I'm glad that I went back and I did my research, because for the past like 3 or 4 years, that's been really on my mind about how, like, damn, bitch, like, somebody loved the fuck out of me to trade places with me. But if you really think about it, like, that's really how life works. Like, accepting the unknowingness means getting familiar with the things that you don't know. It means getting familiar with not knowing. If a person is working in a construction site and they're building a roof, they've never built a roof before. They're terrified of heights. But however, this is their job. This is their new job. You're going to keep going on our roof, keep going on our roof, keep going on our roof, keep going on the roof. And the idea, the knowingness that you could die, it starts to get a little bit more comfortable, because you're like, okay, I know how to navigate to where I do not fall, to where I don't die. And then eventually you start going up the roof, and now you've been working there for a year or two and you don't even realize it, but you're still alive. I mean, you had to be alive. You working, you know, you're still working there. And then you notice that you probably won't even notice that the fear is gone. You've gotten yourself familiarized with the death and walked that same beam, got up that same ladder, went up like every which way, turned different corners, laid upside down on this roof and everything. You got so familiar with this knowingness of death that the unknowingness doesn't scare you anymore. The unfamiliarity is no longer there because you've gotten yourself familiar with it. This is why I prefer to descend into the hell and the chaos, places that make people extremely uncomfortable, in order for me to come out with something tangible. Yeah. So it used to fill me with a lot of fright that I wouldn't be able to continue the same way that I was after these things happened. But the more that I started to understand like the time frame of when these things were going to be happening, because it was almost like clockwork. Like it would happen around September and then end around November. And I called it the sun, like SON. I called it the sun because of the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, and my life path is 3. So I definitely believe that I go through a lot of timeline collapses and rebirth and quantum leaps, and I go through them extremely fast to the point where my outside world can't really catch up to that, But once I started to get like more of a handle on it, I started coming back with things. Like I would go through this traumatizing experience and then I'd come back with some money. I'd go through this traumatizing experience. I have like so much food that's gonna, that's gonna last me for months. I'll end up getting a job that I really, really played for. Like there's always something that has to pass away in order for me to get this new life, in order for me to get this new blessing that I was needing. And for me, that's the importance of descending. It helped me to get comfortable with descending into hell, descending into madness, in order for me to come back with clarity, because I wasn't going to leave myself in that hell or in that madness. I wasn't going to give up because it was so hard or it was so tough. The fact that I'm uncomfortable is why I'm going to get myself out of it, because I'm a Venus baby. I want to be comfortable. I want to be okay. So I gotta get out of this shit that's bothering the fuck out of me. And sometimes you can't just get out of a situation. You have to go through it in order for you to get out of it. If I came into this house into the front way, I have to leave out through the back. I can't come out through the front because I'm avoiding what's on the other side. Familiarizing yourself with death helps you to leave a bit more peacefully.